Hello everybody, I'm going to show you a video of how I do my GraphGAN. I got a lot of questions from the photo I posted on the web, the site. So I'm going to show you a couple things. For one, this is not a paid pattern by somebody else. This is actually a personal GraphGAN of my sister and her soon-to-be husband. I had a wonderful lady, Elizabeth, in another group help me out to design this, so you don't have to worry about copyright infringements and whatnot. I wanted to show you for my bobbins. I have this very large stick. It's actually part of a molding, I think, for a door or floorboard that I had lying around the house. You can get these any hardware store, usually in the back by Flooring. They're usually like 6 feet long or taller sometimes. Or if you just have like a thick dowel rod or whatnot. I get these clips from my local dollar store. I get 6 in a pack. They're pretty durable. They're thick. I have, show you one here. Like I said, they're strong too. They're not some of those weak ones where some stores you can get. Basically what I do is, depending on how much yarn I'm going to need for the particular spot, I wind a lot or a little. I just basically start by clipping, open up the thing, and I put the yarn here, and then I wrap it around as many times as I need. And then when you cut it off, that part that's dangling will be attached to your project, not the one that starts in here. And then I just clip on as I need to introduce into my project. This is a fairly large GraphGAN. This is probably the largest I've ever done. This one is, I believe, going to be almost king. It's 350 stitches wide by at least I forgot the exact, but at least 350 stitches long. This is just one of 5 pages, so I still have 4 more of these to go that way. So this is as long as it's going to be, from 1 to all 350. And like I said, I have 4 more sets that are going to go that way. So I just want to give you a quick little introduction if anybody's never done one. I started off on that, and obviously because it's number 1, and the way I do it is you go down and then you come this way and this way. So it's kind of like this. So my bobbins are always in front. My project's on my lap. I'll show you. Goes all the way down and then comes all the way down and around that way. The bobbins are always kept in front of me. I don't have to back and forward because they're on this stick. When I'm done at the end of the row, I literally pick the stick up and I turn it and I lay it back down, and it flips the entire project over. I'll show you that a little bit later on in the video. I just wanted to show you a quick close-up of an example of the graph. When somebody had asked, some of my bobbins have very little and some of them have a lot. It just depends on where you're at in your graph. For example, each block on this graph equals 1 single crochet. So some of these that have 1, 2, 3, or 4, they don't require either to even have a bobbin or a lot. They can dangle when there's only that little. But some of them where you have like 5 and 6, I wrap a little bit on there just so it can have its own dedicated bobbin. And some, like I said, some instances you're only going to have a few here and there. So that's why some of them have a lot and some of them don't have as much. I do have another video posted on my YouTube account of examples. Say if I'm getting to the end like this one, say if I needed to add more. I believe it's called the invisible knot or something like that. It basically shows how you join 2 of the same color. So you can check that out if you'd like, how I add additional yarn to my project. I just actually added this one to the graph. Let me show you close up. This is where I added the colors right here. So you can see it's only slightly larger in some spots. After I have done it, I just kind of squish the knot between 2 fingers, and it pretty much makes it invisible, especially once you weave it into the graph. I haven't had any of problems with seeing the knots as I've gone along. So I want to just show you guys a couple stitches. Right now, like I said, I have my graph lined out. I have this large like ruler thing, and that's just so I can keep track of where I'm at. So right now I'm actually right here, and I'm working my way this way. So I am going to take a video. I apologize because I don't have a proper setup for videoing. When I start to show you this part, I'm gonna have to flip my camera so you can see how I go along. And then, like I said, once I get to the end, I'll show you how I flip and go back the other way. If you guys have any questions, like I said, you can always leave a comment down below, or you can comment. I don't check my YouTube as much, so I'd prefer if you ask any questions on Facebook. I'm only posting this to any of my crochet groups because this is actually a surprise for my sister. So she has no clue what it's about, so that's why I keep everything in the crocheting. Thank goodness. This is the one instance where I'm glad she doesn't crochet, because she won't find out her wedding present. So the next clip you're going to see in the video is going to be me showing you how I'm following my graph along. So here we go. Actually, one thing I forgot to tell you guys is on the bobbins, there is several parts of the graph that are very large, one colored. For instance, on the ends and in the middle, where it's like one solid, I'm using cream and black. On the ends of the rows, I have a skein attached on the end, the middle, and the other end, it's all the way over there. Because there's so much of the same color, there's no need to even do bobbins, so you just attach skeins where you need to. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but I believe this is going to take like 13 to 15 pounds of yarn. I purchased those Caron 1 pound balls of yarn, so it's gonna take a lot. So okay, further ado, let's start the graphing process. Okay, everybody, I am going to show you how to do a start the graph can. I have gone down till it's time to do my my color change. Now, my graph calls for the stitch before, this one right here, to be black. And then it goes until this one stitch. No, when I say before and after, I can read my graph from far away based on where one stitch is going and one or another one's going to end. So this one calls for the stitch right before the previous one, which would be this one. And then it ends one before the last one, so the last stitch will be here instead of going into the last one. The reason I want to show you this is because it does make a difference how you change colors versus the clarity of the lines. So anytime you're going to do a color change, you always stop. You started the single crochet before. So since my next color right here is going to be black, my cream color, I did not complete the final single crochet because this is how you do a color change. So with 2 loops left on your hook, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of hold my thumb on the string right here, and I'll show you why in a second. I'm going to complete the loop. Okay. Now, when I go into this stitch right here, it's really important that the yarn stays on the left side of my hook, because then you can go in and you're going to finish your single crochet, and then you can go in and continue going on. Now, see how much of a nice clean line that makes? Let me show you what happens if you don't do that, because I found out the hard way. So I've got my, let's just say you didn't know what, about that technique. If you were to just grab the single crochet and then go right into the stitch right here, and you do your single crochet, oh, I forgot to pull a little bit, and then you go into the next one. When you go to look at your line, it's not as clean cut, because now you have this yarn that kind of hangs off on the edge. So that's why anytime you're doing a change over to colors, it's really important that when you grab the yarn, and even if it's like, say if your yarn was over here, I would still kind of hold my thumb just so the yarn doesn't get pulled tight. You don't necessarily have to pull the yarn, but I just use my thumb to keep it out of the way, so that when I do go into my stitch. Now what I do is I go into that stitch, I place my crochet hook into the stitch. Before I start pulling up loops, I gently pull the stitch before, because that way it's not going to have a funky loop. So then I'm going to drop a loop, complete my stitch. Now, since I'm on this, I want to go down because I want to show you what happens when you go, you go down here, because I think we're going to, no, I don't think this one has it. Let's see. So I'm going down, I'm going down. Okay, so this one, it's going to end on this one right here. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to pull up a loop, and I'm going to stop, because now we're going to grab our, now see, this is where I wanted to show you, because there's 2 loops here. You're going to be pulling through 2. So when you go to pull your loop through, I'm going to go into the first stitch, which can't, there's the black one. I'm going to pull up a loop, finish it. Now, you still have this yarn right here, so don't forget to go under that and then into the stitch, okay? Because that way it'll maintain that clean look. See? If you would have left it out, it would have had that funky cut mark. So I really hope this tutorial has helped you guys. If you have any questions, like I said, feel free to ask. I'm gonna post one more video of how to do a color change when you go over the row. Okay, everybody, I'm down to the end. Now I'm going to show you how to do a couple more transitions. Now, for this next part, this graph calls for us, for the white to go one over the black. So to do that, what I do is, because this stitch right here needs to be white on top of the black. So I'm going to finish my single crochet. Now, before I go into this one, I'm going to pick up the black, because this is the bobbin. I'm going to put it on top of my hook because we want it to be carried through. I'm going to go into my stitch, okay? I'm going to loop over, pull up the white loop, drop the cream, white, whatever. Now, because I went over it, I don't have to worry about falling over, you know, hiding a stitch, because this is now in, it's sitting on top. So the only thing you do now is you pull the loop through to continue, and then you just go right into your next stitch. And I was supposed to do six of these, so I am going to be going 2 over the white. So it'll be a little bit easier to see since I'm coming to the clear, not black yarn. So I had 1, 2, 3. I'll show you again how I go over it. 4. Okay, now the last 2 stitches, okay, I'm just going to put that one right there. Oops, I dropped it. Okay, I'm going to go into the stitch for 5. Now I'm just holding it, okay. Now you go in for the 6th stitch. You pull up a loop, you drop your bobbin, okay. Now this is the one that was on, we were carrying through, so now you're just going to pull that through your stitches, and you're going to go into the next one and finish your, and see, it makes it nice and clean looking. There's no, you know, bumps or anything hanging out. Some of this is, I have a lot of weaving in to do. Some of these are actually stitch markers, these little ones you see hanging out, so don't worry about that. Okay, so then now my graph, I'm going to read my graph. I can usually see from far away. One good thing that I've done since I've gotten so far into the graph, a lot of times I don't even need to count the stitches. I just need to look, okay, the previous row, I need to go 2 white. The white needs to go 2 over the black. So when I'm looking at my stitch, I just need to go 2 stitches over, and that should only leave 1 black stitch left over, which there's 3 stitches here, so that's correct. So once we get to the black, then we're going to do 3. So we're going to go down, and we're going to go, like I said, we're going to go 2. I apologize, the way I have this video set up is it's hard to video in. So I'm going to go down, I'm going to do 2 white over the black, so I'll quick do this. And I'll show you guys as I'm going. Like I said, had to do that transition. After I show you how I flip my work, I will show you guys how I wind my bobbins. I know I had somebody ask if I could show them, and I will. Okay, so now remember I need to go 2 over, so I'm going to grab this black one, and I'm going to put it over my hook. And I'm going to carry this for 2. So there's 1. We're going to go 2. We're going to drop the white, pull out the black. And the black needs to go 2 over. So I'm going to pull that through. I'm going to go into the black. Okay, now I need to go 2 over the white. Or cream white, same thing. You know, so I got 1. I give it a little tug. 2 over, drop the black. Pick up the cream. Now this very last one. My cream needs to go 1 over the black, and then the black needs to go 2 over. Okay, so we're going to go down to where 1 over, making sure I can still see. I really hope you guys are kind of getting the gist of what I'm trying to say. Like I said, if you guys need more clarification, just ask, and I'm more than happy to help. I know how frustrating it is in the beginning to learn how to do graph GANs. My first one was a nightmare. I did a C2C graph GAN, and I did it without any, I just freehanded it, and my goodness, it was a tasking for sure. Okay, so I said we go 2 over. The graph calls for 2 over, so I'm just gonna 1. Now see, if you look closely, it looks like the string's hanging, but if you just give a tug, you're not going to really be able to see that. All right, 2 over. Okay, now the rest of this is all one color, and this is the one I have attached to my, it's caught up here, but that's not. Is my skein on the floor. So when I get to the end, I'm going to show you how I rotate my work. Okay, you guys, I'm at the end of my row. I just put the final stitch in the last chain in the row. Remember, you always chain 1 and then turn. I'm not going to do that just yet, because what I like to do when I flip is I kind of make this one a little bit longer, because I'm going to move I don't want my hook or my stitch to fall out. Okay, so I do a little bit of prep. Pardon my little walker there, I had surgery. There's a little bit of a prep work that I do before I flip, only because I have skeins attached. If I had no skeins attached, then this wouldn't be, you wouldn't have to worry about this. So before I flip, because when I flip, this is now going to be flipped over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this skein of yarn that's attached at the end, and I just flip it to this side. Okay, and I make sure the tail ends follow. And then I take, in the middle, I have a skein of yarn that's attached, and I just go to, oh, I apologize for that. I gotta find where I'm attached at. Okay, I'm attached right here. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to, because when you flip with your skein on the ground in the middle, you do need to grab your skein if you're doing it like this. Okay, and then I'm going to go underneath like this, because you'll see why once you flip it. If not, they get caught up. And then last but not least, I take the skein from the right side and I just throw it to the left side. Okay, now, like I said, remember how we were going, my skein, or my, all my bobbins always stay in front. So this is literally all you have to do, is I lift it up, and you see the project lifts with it, and I turn my project like so. I set it down on the table, and now my skein of yarn that I was on the other side when I finished that row. Now now it's right side back this way. I'm caught up a little bit because my my cord for my phone got mixed in. You will have a little bit of chaos sometimes. That I'm not saying you won't. So now that I have my skein, I'll show you. I'll pick it all back up. All of my bobbins have been flipped. And like I said, all you're gonna do is, I work with the table close to me. I can't lean back. I have a huge surgical boot on anyway, so it makes it hard. But now you're just gonna go back to the next row, and then you're gonna follow all the way down along, just like I showed you before. And now that you flipped your thing, now your bobbins are back in order. So I have my skein on the floor, and then I have black, white, black, and I have black, white, and so they're all in order now, according with your bobbins on the row. So there's no worry about, are they out of order? And even if you did have one out of order, if you put it on the wrong spot, you just literally unclip and clip again, you know. So I hope this tutorial was helpful. I apologize, like I said, for the shaky camera. I don't have a good setup for how-to videos where I'm at, and kind of limited where I can go with my big old surgical boot down there. So real quick, I am going to show you guys how to wind the yarn. For that, I'm going to do that. It's too hard to wind and do first person point of view, so I'm going to have the camera facing back at me. So just a second, I'll show you how to wind my bobbins, and then, like I said, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. Okay, here we go. This is how I wind my bobbins. I don't pre-measure any of my how much I'm going to need. I just kind of eyeball what I think, you know, if it's going to be a large or small chunk. So I'm going to show you with my white clip and my black yarn, so hopefully you can see it better. First thing I do is I take the end of my string, my yarn, and on these clips themselves, when you open them up, you see this little hole right here? I'm going to catch the yarn between those only because it'll hold it. And so I'll go this way so you guys can see. Okay, as I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to trap the yarn between, just so when you hold it, it'll catch it. That's not guaranteeing that they're going to stay, but so I'm just going to pull a good chunk of yarn out of my skein here so I can wind. And the only thing I do is I literally just wrap it. There's no, I haven't found any right or way, you know, wrong or reason. I just kind of wind and wind and wind and wind till I think I need some. I'm going to make this one kind of big because I do have some big gaps coming up in my my graph can. So like I said, I'm not crisscrossing a certain way, I'm just winding. Okay, and so then I just cut, and then like I said, I will attach it anywhere I need it on my Hi guys, I wanted to show you something real quick. I just remembered I don't have it coming up in my graph, so I'm just going to use an example right here. I forgot to show you guys how to add a color if you're starting, like if you have in the middle of your project, you have like, you know, like mine, I have a couple black dots over there. Okay, so this is just an example. This isn't my pattern. I'm just going to take it off when I'm done. Okay, so when you go to add a stitch, remember you always start your stitch the stitch before. So if this one is going to be black, and for an example, we're going to, the stitch before, remember, we're going to stop with the 2 loops on our hook. So in this example, I'm just going to take a piece of yarn. This is like my new bobbin. This is how I add. You know, you guys can add whichever way you feel comfortable. So basically, okay, I pull my loop through, okay, while it's doubled. And then when I go into the next stitch, I make sure that the prior stitch isn't, you know, out of whack. When I go to pull up the second loop, I loop both of those, okay? So that when you pull up in your, you know, 2 loops on here, technically there's 3 because I'm trying to secure that stitch in. That's why I leave kind of a longer tail. And then what I would do is I would still take both of those and I would pull it through. That's why some of mine look kind of thick in certain spots. You can't tell in the blanket. So then my next stitch, I would, when I go into the next one, even if this was longer or shorter, I would lay the tail down, and so when I go to pull up again, I'm actually burying the tail as I go. A wrap, I guess. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment or send me a message. I got a long ways to go, so I'll be working on this thing for a while. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope it helped.